Hey everyone, welcome to my first live stream. This is the first time I've done all of this, so it's kind of a new thing. I'll have to check if it's working first and foremost, and check that the chat's working and all this kind of stuff. And then we can get into what everything's about. Hey everyone, hi Gerline, hi Ryan, how you going? Hi Bob, great to see you. Thanks for coming on. I'll just let a few more people join in. Hi Jackie, hi Melody. Nice to see someone from Oz, the land of Oz. Can everyone hear me all fine? Can everyone hear me and see me all fine? No issues? Just let me know in the chat. Beautiful. Awesome. That's awesome. Okay. So thanks for coming on today, everyone. It's my first time being live and I kind of felt inspired to do this a while ago. In fact, I actually went back onto my channel with the previous live stream I did, and it was about a year ago to this very day. Tomorrow actually. And yeah, so I've been looking forward to doing this, and I don't know, I get delayed with things, and life sort of gets in the way and that sort of stuff. But finally, I felt really called to be live, because what happens with my creative process is that I like doing kind of more prepared videos, and then I have a spontaneous urge to kind of engage, and I wasn't getting an outlet creatively for my soul to be able to do that. So live streaming is obviously just a simple answer for that. And yeah, so that's where we are, and I'm going to be giving you a bit of a life update in this video, just to touch base, let you know what's been happening with me, because as you can see, I'm in a new room. I've moved houses yet again. So I'm in a new place. I'm living by the beach now, and that has done absolute wonders for my life, really. My vibration has increased and expanded, and I feel more connected in every way. So I'll talk a bit more about all of that in this live stream, and then it'll just be YouTube that you can see later. So how's everyone going so far, by the way, in this year? I can't believe it's already March, to be honest. How have you all been going, and what are the updates for you? I know it's quite a challenging time around the world. There's lots of things going on all the time. It's easy to get overwhelmed, and hopefully that in this experience, when we get on these live streams together, we can connect to that energy of oneness, which is what I want to do with this, and bring everyone back into that connection within, where you can access greater peace, greater freedom within yourself, greater connection to your higher self, to your intuition, to best navigate your life. That's going to be what this is all about. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Melody. I hope you're all okay. I did see about the floods that were going on. I haven't read much into that, but obviously that's not good at all, and my heart goes out to you. Snow here. Whereabouts are you tuning in from, Jackie? Because we haven't had snow in Australia. Well, I haven't visibly seen snow in Australia in my everyday life, ever. You have to kind of take a trip out, and then you can find snow on some mountains, and then you can see snow. Yes. Pennsylvania, oh cool. That's really cool. The only thing I know much about Pennsylvania, other than I've had a few clients that were from Pennsylvania, but one of my favorite things I associate with it is The Office US, Scranton, Pennsylvania. So, hi Monica, nice to see you. I remember you, of course. I remember our connection when we connected a while ago. Okay, beautiful. So just checking that that's all fine. Settings. Oh, you're close to Scranton. That's amazing. So, all right. So I think a few people are joining now. Hi, Yoko. I was tempted to say "oh no" after it, but I won't. But I did. Anyway, so now that we're sort of in this, I encourage everyone, just let me know where you're from. Let me know what's been happening with you. I really want to bring you into this experience. It's not just me talking, although a lot of that will be. And I even want to bring on people to speak as well when we get more regularly into these, so we can actually have a communication. And Ryan's wondering if we can, sort of discuss advice and things like that. That's definitely going to be what we'll be doing today. So anyway, I'll give you an in-depth update. So I was in Melbourne last year, and we were locked down for a while, almost 6 months in a row. And that was really, really challenging. And I was obviously running my business in my apartment in that place and going through some crazy spiritual experiences a lot of the time. And there were some days and some weeks where I would be in my apartment. And I remember once I counted it was 6 days before I'd had any human contact. Because I'm quite an introvert as I am. I like my alone time to contemplate, reflect, and meditate and go in and connect within to get creative ideas, etc. So I'm already not a hugely social person, although I can be. So in that space, I was getting more and more isolated, not seeing people. We were forced to stay in our homes, and it was quite a difficult situation. And towards the end of that last year, I knew I had to make a change, and I had to move out of my apartment in the city, and I had to get more connected with the earth, with myself, with nature, etc. And there was a great living situation that opened up, a great environment, and it was by the beach. Same state and everything like that. I didn't move too far. I'm not. That's quite an ambitious thing for me. But maybe one day I will travel the world and live somewhere else. But I found a nice space by the beach, and I basically have been building up a new life since. Now, Yoko says, I have no problem having zero contact for 6 days. I'll have to get your secrets, because that's not me. I deeply love connecting to other souls, especially those that lift me up, and seeing them physically. That's a very important thing for just me personally. But if you can manage that, that's all the more beneficial, I think, for meditation and things like that, our spiritual path. So that's really cool. Oh, I see Melodies from Byron Bay, and I have been there as well, and I really love that. I love the beach near there. I love all beaches. And that kind of brings me to where we're at now, where I ended up finding this place and moving by the beach. And what I found was the lockdowns lifted sort of late last year, and I thought you'd just be able to bounce back into everyday life quite quickly. But it actually took me kind of like undoing a series of habits, because I picked up all these habits. Not going out, not exercising as much. My routines were all off, and a lot of it was just waiting for the lockdowns to lift in my apartment. So lots of habits that I picked up that weren't conducive to my highest expression and vibration and alignment. So I had to kind of systematically get back on track, and it's taken several weeks, and actually now in the months long, to kind of get that flow to where I was, how I like to be before the lockdown. So I've been building that up. I did release a video a few weeks ago, and now I'm going to hopefully get more into that flow and really connect into that space. Yeah, being near the beach is beautiful. I was actually there today, and I had a beautiful experience where I kind of meditate on park benches now. And people walk past, and I used to be very self-conscious maybe a year and a half ago when I started meditating publicly, because I love going to parks and finding a bench and being in midst of trees and meditating. People walk by, obviously, because it's a public place. And I used to be self-conscious about it. Now I just do it freely, and people must think I'm quite strange. But I was sitting on a park bench today by the beach, overlooking the waters, and I was able to enter into this very still place within myself. People call this state like a samadhi experience, and that always I thought it was cool. It's a cool sounding word. But I've also found it was a little bit intense and a little bit of an overwhelming word to talk about. So how I really realized these states of oneness or samadhi really are is more when you make peace within yourself. All parts of yourself are feeling really safe, really aligned, really seen, really heard, and everything kind of lets go, and you sort of feel yourself float to a higher level, almost like you're floating above the clouds, and your perception shifts in that moment. And so I was at the beach and I kind of felt that, and I felt my energy aligning. I slowly drifted up and I just felt a oneness with everything, oneness with life. And I had tears of joy. It was so beautiful, really. So beautiful. And it gave me this thought that spirituality, I had this thought that it did come in and interrupt the state, but it was a great thought, at least I thought at the time. But this flash came to me about what spirituality really is in a nutshell. And it's like, imagine if you had a TV remote and you're changing the channel. It's like you want to change the channel from ego to source. That's really it. And if you can change that channel, you just all of a sudden are at a different viewpoint. You're watching something else, and the whole experience of your time in Earth is just different. It's just seen through the channel of source, and that's a beautiful thing, because that's where peace is, that's where love is, that's where a sense of integration is within yourself, and you can kind of go about your life very gracefully, at least while it lasts. And it doesn't last for me very long. I'm not a master, but but yeah, it was a beautiful thing. I've been manifesting and doing meditation for over a year, and definitely healed me, but I'm waiting for a miracle. Yes. Yes, I definitely resonate with that, Jackie. In my own journey, I've felt that when I needed a miracle, and a miracle for me, I don't know what that is for you. Sometimes it's a very 3D type of result, like I want something to happen in my business when I was launching it. How about some money through the door? That would be good. So a miracle like that to show something 3D is happening. Or it can be a miracle in terms of a spiritual experience where we're going on our spiritual journeys, and then suddenly you reach a breaking point where you need source to come in, or your higher self to come in, or maybe you believe in your guides or whatever to come in and give you a little boost. So it's not you just kind of going on it alone, feeling like, where am I going? You get that boost, and it lifts you up, and you have that miracle happen, which for me is always that inner state where you have an inner experience of realization and a massive shift in your life. So that's what it can be as well. True love. Yes, true love. It's what we are. I wish it was easier to see that, right? But yes, true love, that's what we are. I always ask my guides for help. That's so wonderful, you have a relationship with them. I've actually been contacting my guides a lot this year as well. I don't know if it's stubbornness or something like that, but it's not that I never believed in guides or even my higher self. But I just never reached out to them. I always had this mindset, I'll figure it out. And then I guess there was a little bit of me that was a bit squeamish about guides and all this kind of stuff, cautiously opening to it. And then I realized the more you develop that self-trust, which I'm sure you have, Jackie, is self-trust to kind of differentiate between the subtle connections you have and the subtle thought forms that can appear in your mind. You can very quite easily, well, it comes easy at the right moment for us, but then you can kind of connect in and get that sense of guidance. And I can quite accurately hear my guides now communicate in and give me signs and give me advice and things like that. Not all the time, but if I intend to, I can kind of get that connection, and it's very, very helpful. And I believe we all come into the earth with a connection to the spiritual dimension, which has infinite possibility within it. And it very much resonates with me that there is a way we can connect to that higher dimension and actually have that wisdom come into our life for our benefit. And it's hugely powerful when we open up into that and realize it's just like talking to a loving, dear friend. That guidance. It's not even in thoughts sometimes, by the way. It sounds like you're having a chat. It's sometimes just a sense, or maybe even a sign that manifests in your 3D world. But when you open that connection, it does become extremely powerful and can guide you to create what you want in your life as well. Let's see what is being said. So Monica says, I call on guides and archangels because I feel alone, and it works. Absolutely, it really does. And the thing the thing about the archangels, I'm not sure if you guys know about Dr. David R. Hawkins. I'm a very big fan of his work and his books and his scale of consciousness, where it can kind of calibrate the vibrational level of various states of being that we can exist in as humans. And you can kind of, everything kind of has a vibration to it and a level to it. And the interesting thing was, we take, some of the enlightened masters throughout history, and like Buddha, like Jesus, etc., and they are at 1,000 out of 1,000 on this scale of consciousness, which is quite mind-blowing, because you go, wow. I don't think I'm anywhere near that point. I don't know about everyone else, but I wouldn't even put myself in the league of someone like that. But then the fascinating thing and the power of understanding this is that when other things are calibrated for their level of consciousness or vibration, if you will, like an archangel, well, archangels came back at 50,000 on that scale. So the mind starts to boggle as to how powerful such higher dimensional beings could possibly be, like an archangel. And if they just give you just a little hit of their guidance, of their love, of their energy and power to you, if you're open to receiving that, well, you can only imagine how much that could guide your life. So I'm sure Monica has a lot more experience of that than me, which is truly incredible that she can call upon the archangels like that. And it inspires me to do more of that in my life, to be honest. Rayoff, thank you. It's so great to see you here as well. And thank you, Fresh Prince. I've never seen that show, by the way, with Will Smith, but I have heard that new Will Smith movie is good. King Richard, or whatever it's called. I haven't been to the movies or the cinemas in a while, but that does look really good. That's the thing about me. I love, love, love inspirational films, because it touches my soul and it reminds me that anything's possible. So whenever I see someone go on that hero's journey, whatever that is, whatever context, male, female, maybe we can get any non-binary story as well, if you resonate with that. But any sort of sense as a human soul, whatever you resonate with being, going on that heroic journey, wow, that inspires me. So I can't wait to see that movie. Actually, it reminds me of a movie I'd seen ages ago. It was called Bend It Like Beckham. Has anyone seen Bend It Like Beckham? It's a very old film now, 20 years, because I couldn't believe that, because I saw that when I was a child. But it's about these two female soccer players that believe in their dreams to basically go pro in soccer or football. And it's such a good film. And I watched it recently, and I just love that. And I love that inspirational feel it gives you. It really lifts you up, and actually you start getting into a higher state when you surround yourself with this kind of life-affirming material. That comes into your being. I feel like everything has an impact, and we underestimate it. But a good film like that lifts you up actually leaves an imprint on your being itself. It actually raises you up, and then you're actually in a slightly different vibrational frequency. And you're going to go through the world with that and attract in new things from that place. So that's really amazing. Okay, I got a question here from Super Kami Guru Alucard McKee. Sorry, I hope that I pronounced that. Let's see. So is hardship a sign that you're close? You're close, like rain before a sunshine to harvest a garden. Yes, absolutely. It's darkest before dawn. It's a deep truth in that. As long as that doesn't always make you feel that it has to be dark for you to feel good, because I do believe we can be powerful and we deserve to feel as good as we want to feel and as connected and aligned as we desire to feel, because we are worthy of that. We are absolutely worthy of having the connection we want to life and the experience of life we want. Having said that, in my own journey, I absolutely resonate with going through periods of some of the most intense darkness I thought possible for me to experience. And persisting through that, somehow staying connected to whatever I was creating, or even just a sense that I would make it through that moment. And something in that process of persevering and holding on eventually parts the clouds, and that storm passes, so to speak, and then there's a ray of sunshine that kind of hits you. And it's a beautiful thing. And I actually do remember there was an experience last year about month 3 in the lockdowns, and I'd had many spiritual experiences before this point, and that had confirmed to me that we are all souls and sparks of a higher source. And I'd set up a life that I was, happy with for the most part. My spiritual connection had blossomed to a point that I was deeply grateful for. And yet in this lockdown, I kind of lost connection to all of that temporarily, and it was a bleak time, and it just kept going on month after month. And it got so dark, and I felt like everything that I'd learned, everything I'd expanded into, every positive thing had either lost meaning in that space, and I couldn't connect back to it, and couldn't connect to gratitude, etc. And any spiritual insight seemed to evaporate, like I'd just lost connection to that source. And I was praying for a miracle to the source, to be quite honest with you, in that moment. I actually remembered it was, for anyone that's familiar, it was the Botanic Gardens in Melbourne. Botanical Gardens in Melbourne. Botanical Gardens in Melbourne. I missaid that. I was walking through these gardens, hopeless, and I had a photo recently, and I had dark circles under my eyes, so I wasn't getting sleep, and I was just in a quite misaligned space. And I asked for that miracle. I think I just said, show me, I want to know the truth. I don't want to keep seeking anymore. I need to be reassured right now. And suddenly I felt, it was like a split moment where I was in that park, and I felt my soul consciousness lift above my body, kind of was hovering above my head. And I got swept up into this current that was exquisitely beautiful to feel. And then I saw my soul shoot forward. And it was like I saw every decade of my life, just the general themes of it, decade after decade expanding. And I sort of zoomed over my life on earth as this temporary existence, as the soul I am, and this form I am as Tom. I zoomed through it, and it all just zoomed and then exploded into sort of an infinite presence that was beyond everything. It was beyond time, it was beyond space, and it radiated this perfection and love that was unimaginably beautiful. And I wept, and I felt myself in the presence of that knowing of that sunshine, if you will, that sunlight shone in. And it was basically during the darkest moment where I intended for that, and I asked for that, and then it graced me with that moment. And that was a huge moment. That was probably one of the deepest experiences I've ever had of the source or God, that spiritual space that all enlightened masters are pointing us to. It took me into that, and it assured me that we are absolutely sparks of this higher source that is love itself. And that stuck with me ever since. That moment, it was a huge epiphany. Okay, so anyway, so the point is that yes, it's darkest before dawn. For a lot of our, some of the most wonderful moments of our journey come after a dark period. So keep the faith. Keep absolute faith in your journey. Believe in yourself. Love yourself, and it will pass. It will pass. Perfect. Yeah, I'm glad that could help. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for the positive thoughts. I'm sending it back to you. Really appreciate it. I'm really grateful you feel reassured. I feel reassurance is a sign of truth, because at the moment we come face to face with the source, is the moment we realize that nothing other than reassurance is the highest purpose, is to feel safe, absolutely safe. To feel absolutely safe, to be you, that all's okay. And that's when that love blossoms. So I'm glad you feel reassured. Yes. In the dark, Mike says, in the dark we must find light. And I am encouraged by your sharing of your personal experiences. Thanks, Mike. In a way, because light is the only thing there is, we don't realize that. It's very difficult sometimes to see that in this human experience, because we're surrounded by a lot of chaos, a lot of ego, a lot of seeming darkness. And it is very real, and I would never take that from anyone, take it away from anyone going through challenge. Because when I'm going through challenge, I lose a connection to the light just like everyone else. And so in those moments, if someone came to me and said, oh, it's all an illusion, there's only light, it's not helpful to me. I prefer to be believed in, trusted, supported, and uplifted, and allow myself to go through that process. But I think on some level, some deeper level, most of us resonate with the idea that there has to be some greater meaning beyond this darkness, this temporary darkness and fear and separation on the planet. And that intuition is true. And I say that from experience, where I have left, my consciousness has left temporarily a limited human point of view and expanded into an infinite one, which is what all spiritual experience is about, is expanding into a point of view of that light with no darkness possible, only light. The most beautiful thing possible, and your destiny in life to experience that. But coming back to the point, I feel that in a way, because there's only light, this whole experience of coming into this planet Earth, incarnating as a soul, and being around all this darkness is only to serve as an inspiration for us to remember the absolute light of truth, the truth that we are. So it's through that darkness and the contrast of it that gives us the inspiration to remember the light and anchor it in more powerfully and more uniquely than ever before. And that's your unique soul's journey. And that's why you're here on earth, is to find the light within yourself. And that's not only just to realize your connection to the source. That's a huge part of it. But it's to recognize that once the light comes into you, to share that in whatever gifts you have, in whatever purpose you feel inspired to express and give to the world. And even in just the everyday experiences you have, to give that light to everyone. Be that your intimate partner, be that your friends, be that a co-worker that you can't stand. That's easier said than done, right? But there's something so inspiring when we see someone radiate that light and that love in a world that doesn't give you that permission so directly and explicitly. It's something you have to dig deep to find, and that's why it's rare, and that's why it's inspirational, and that's your potential. Your potential is not only to create the life you want, because you are that powerful divine extension, but to create the life you want as the beingness you wish to be, as the person and soul you wish to be, with as much love and light as possible, because it has a ripple effect and transforms everyone when we are touched by the light of another, which is the light within ourselves, because we're all one. So yeah. Angela calls me a handsome young man. That's very sweet. That's very sweet. Thank you so much. I'm sorry you miss your son. I'm not sure why you miss him, but my heart goes out to you. And thank you for your compliment. It's interesting because looks is a sensitive subject for me that I've done a lot of healing around. Because I think we all want to belong, right? We all want to feel like we belong, that we have something to give, that we're worthy. And I grew up in a dynamic where my brother, he's a performer. He one time he I remember in primary school. I remember in primary school once, my brother. I was playing basketball with my friends, and I got a tap on the shoulder from another kid. We were only about 10 or 12 or something like that. I got a tap on the shoulder from another kid that said, quick, come here, you've got to see what your brother's doing. And I went, oh, what? Something wrong? And I remember running up this platform and coming around to, we had this big shelter shed, which was like this room that you would go into if it started raining and pouring with rain during lunchtime. And it could hold it was just kind of almost a mini warehouse type of vibe. And you could go in there, and you were meant to, if it was raining or if the sun was too hot or things like that. And it could hold a couple of hundred kids in there at a time, this place. And I kid you not, I come up around this corner and I see my brother in there, and he has somehow, he's somehow hosting a spontaneous Michael Jackson performance when Michael Jackson was big, doing the Billie Jean, doing the moonwalk, and singing all of his songs. And he had somehow attracted this audience of a few hundred kids cheering him along to this spontaneous concert. And I was really happy for him in the moment. But I remember also I was quite wounded by these type of experiences because my brother got a lot of adulation, and my inner child was hurt because I wasn't a natural singer, dancer, performer in that way. And so by comparison, I started leaning on other things to gain worthiness, and one of them was my looks. Trying to look the best, trying to be as handsome as possible. At one point, I remember I tried to gain a lot of muscle and become like a fitness person, maybe like 7 years ago now at this point, in my late teens, and I wanted to be an athlete. And so, as I've gotten older, I've realized that my looks, I can't depend on them. So I've had to go through a deep inner work to let that go. I've gone through fears about losing my hair, because my hair started going thin, and making peace with that. And that's in my genetics as well, and my uncles and all this kind of stuff. So that's in my genetics, so I know that's going to happen. And the point being is that as much as I can accept that compliment about me being handsome, it now comes from a place of greater peace within myself that knows that, yeah, it's cool. It's cool while it lasts. I'll take the compliment. But deeper than that, there has to be something eternal that I'm striving more and more to make myself one with, that radiates worthiness into you no matter who you are, no matter what you have, and gives you a permission to be you no matter what. And I'm not there yet, to be honest. I'm still always healing. I'm still always aligning. And so are all of us together. And that's what the purpose of these live streams, again, is to really connect to that. Unity and connection through us all. But I didn't mean to make such a deep point about a simple compliment like you're handsome. I really genuinely do appreciate that compliment as well. But it's how I feel, is that I'm grateful I can now accept that compliment with a greater integration within myself. Jackie asks, how do you feel about telepathy? Telepathy. Why can't I say that? Telepathy. I don't know how to say that word. What's going on? So I'm not going to try to say it again. How do I feel about basically communication from one mind to another? I feel it's absolutely possible, and it's something that will become commonplace over the next few hundred years as we shift into the new earth, and as ego is healed into integration and the soul awakens. We unlock lots of psychic gifts and our consciousness expands. And if you read books like The Law of One, they talk about eventually whole sort of walking libraries called social memory complexes awakening throughout a collective species. In this case, it will be for humanity. This is so far, this is millions of years down the future type of thing. But eventually we all want to be telepathic, and we all communicate in telepathic ways into a big library archive, this sort of collective consciousness unit that we can all tap into, and it's a way to support and connect amidst one another. Now that does sound very out there. If that is confusing, I encourage you to check Aaron Abke, his videos on it. And but the point being, right now, do I believe in it? Yes. Can I do telepathy? Not really, no. My consciousness isn't there yet. But I have had some rare experiences where I've connected with another soul, and it feels like an intuitive, instant connection and communication is happening between us, and it's more like an intuitive download. And if you ever get coaching sessions with me as well, I open up my consciousness into a very receptive space, and I'm able to connect into that soul, and I download information, or I receive thoughts that are helpful, questions that are helpful, and that's what happens in a coaching session, which is why it can be so transformative. Now, I'm not sure if that's telepathy as such, but it's certainly an intuitive connection that is possible, because we're all connected ultimately, and quantum physics shows that, and we're all becoming more open-minded to this, and it would eventually become more and more commonplace. The reason why telepathy and things like that seem, even to me to this day, somewhat daunting, somewhat confusing, a bit overwhelming, a bit foreign, and it's like, I'm not sure I want to go there yet. If you feel like that, I totally understand. I'm a bit there myself like that. But the reason why it's both undesirable at a certain point in your journey and then desirable at another point in your soul's journey is because is to the extent to which we are still in a world of ego. when there's lots of ego around, we struggle to express these truths as well, because we fear what's going to happen. Am I going to be doubted? Is there a skeptic going to come up and question about all these things and make me feel bad about my beliefs? And in the past, we may have even been killed for expressing such things like psychic phenomena, and even the idea that you're a soul, something like that, can have been a blasphemous thing to have said in the past. So we're slowly, gently opening up to say we are all connected, we are all from one source, we can communicate in many other ways other than just human words, right? And not only is that a beautiful thing, but it's something that happens quite naturally as you expand. And that's why it becomes more favorable the more love we welcome in and the more we heal ego, because then we feel more safe. And then when we come across a soul who we wish to connect in a deeper, more way with that soul, who's also open, who we also resonate with, then we can do that and have a really deep, amazing connection. Whether that's intuitively, emotionally, psychically, connecting in other ways that I don't even know about. Point being is that I do believe this is all possible, and something that at your own pace, when you feel ready to explore that, is something that will just fall into your life and something that will enrich your life. So currently right now, can I do telepathy or anything of that nature? No. I'm not really that interested in it. Having said all of that, I'm more interested in awakening to the source and experiencing that unity, and anything else within that, the umbrella of that, when it falls into my path, I'll do that. Such as connecting to your guides. That's a form of telepathy, right? You're connecting to a higher dimension and receiving an information that's not coming from someone talking in front of you. So it's all the same thing. So is channeling. That's a form of telepathy. Why? I don't know why I can't say that. This is very interesting. I'm getting concerned, to be honest. So that's my thoughts on it. And now Gabrielle says, how many hours do you meditate? This is an interesting question. So at the moment, I wake up and I have a morning routine, and I'm trying to wake up early now. So I wake up and I immediately meditate for 25 minutes, because at about the 20-minute mark, that's where I feel everything becomes still, and I start really feeling a deeper connection in meditation. 20 minutes, sometimes not, so I like extending it to about 25. But then what happens is I have to spontaneously allow my experience throughout the day to communicate to me intuitively if I need more meditation. Meditation for me is all about love. So it's not really sitting down to quiet the mind, but actually coming into intimate connection with yourself, noticing what's arising within your experience, and then connecting to those parts of you that are afraid, that are stressed, or anything like that, and helping them feel safe. And on some days I need to sit in a quiet space of stillness and meditation to love and align parts of me for multiple hours. I can sit on park benches nearby the ocean, in other parks, etc., and I like to, and go into a deep wound and really feel deeply into the core of that for 30 minutes, 60 minutes. I lose connection with time at that space. You're just so in that space, and then I feel eventually that that part of me and the energy behind that part of me that's afraid or stressed or whatever it is, it gently feels more safe, and kind of like this loosens up and dissolves back into peace and alignment. And I recognize, oh wow, that was a huge healing, and that was a huge vibrational shift and upgrade. And so that kind of thing happens quite a bit. I'm aware not everyone has the luxury to just meditate and go off and things like that. So I would start with 15 to 20 minutes, as that can radically change your life, your quality of your life, because it enables you to connect with yourself, heal yourself, and also it does help you gain awareness over certain thought patterns. I remember once when I started meditating and I heard a voice say, "I'm so unhappy." And because I'd been meditating for 20 minutes a day, I saw that thought pass through my mind. I'm so unhappy. This is a while ago. I can't remember when this was, but this is a while ago, years ago. And I heard this voice say, I'm very unhappy. And I saw it and I went, am I? I don't think I am. No, I'm very happy. And the minute I saw that, everything opened up. Oh, wow, this is what meditation's about. This is what it's about. You change that thought, it changes your frequency and an emotional state you're in. That shifts you up to a higher level, and then all of a sudden your day is better. It's a simple skill like that for allowing you to gain awareness over your mindset. It's very powerful. Okay, so NJ now asks, and this might be the final question. Unless you have another question, please ask me now if you'd like to. So NJ asks, if I imagine and affirm, let's see, where can I see? If I imagine and affirm for a period of time, for 1 month example, then I forget about my desire, will it manifest? So the answer is, for me, is that I no longer really manifest in ways that are linear. So time pressure, like a month, if I do this, if I do X, then Y will happen at this exact time. I feel that comes from the ego, which is seeking to control outcomes, which is not a bad thing either. So don't feel bad if you ask questions that way. And even as a soul, sometimes it's important, when you come more into your soul's alignment, what I mean is sometimes it's still important to have a linear timeline of things and get things done, right? We just all do live in a world, right? But what I mean personally is that I just have more of an open sense of what I'm creating with my life. So instead of a specific thing, I more openly manifest a life of a certain quality, of a certain vibration. And so the core motivation of my life is two things. One, to awaken into the love of the source, or God's love, and to awaken into that space. And two, to radiate that love and that goodness and that beauty through the example of my life. That's the two things that I really only manifest. And then, there may be some specific things that come up along the way. But my core intention is just to experience love and to be love in a nutshell. And so with that, there's no time constraint or specific things that necessarily have to happen. It's just I anchor that energy in, and in the trust of that energy, I know that things are going to manifest out of that. Because I am a point of consciousness. I am one with the source and also a spark of that source. And so I have a creative capacity to be in a certain frequency and then allow all of life, which is actually just what we are all one with. It's all itself a manifestation of the source at a certain frequencies. And so I know if I look after that overall sense of an intention to be in a certain frequency and to manifest a certain quality of life for the well-being of all, I know in time life will reflect that back to me. Be that in a financial win, be that in a certain soul that comes in my life to aid and benefit me, or be that in whatever happens, be that in a creative idea. I see it within the scope of a more grand, wide open playing field. That's just what resonates with me. And then I just go about my life. For the most part. Now, if I have a specific thing I'd love to manifest, then I'll do that too. And it really helps to put some intensity behind your intention for that specific thing. And so I'll do that from time to time as well, don't get me wrong. And then you just have to really trust yourself when to let that go. And then when you do feel inspired to let that go, you can kind of let it go, and then it tends to then just pop up in your reality at the perfect moment for you. However, if you can't let go of your desire as well, that's okay too. Just cling on to it as much as you like, because you're never going to get this wrong. That's how safe you are. I don't teach in the way that says you must let go, and if you don't, bad things are going to happen. I believe in the meta belief that you can manifest things through absolute self-trust and love. And that the more you actually do that, at least from me and my experience, the better I feel about myself, the more I trust myself, and the more I naturally just let life be as it is anyway, let my desires happen when they will. And it all comes from that space of embracing my experience and validating my experience and allowing my experience and what I feel to be honest, organic, authentic, and only know it's going to receive more love and approval from me. So yeah, hopefully that answers. All right, so the final question today I might answer will be from Monica. Do you journal your dreams? Okay, so I did I ever do that? Dream journaling? I think I did that about 3 years ago for a little while, and then I stopped for some reason. I don't know why. I do take note of my dreams. So when I have a dream, I just wake up the next day and I go, okay, so what's the intuitive message of that dream? What's it communicating to me? And then it just pops up, and I go, okay, that's it. There it is. And then I just trust that because it makes me feel aligned. It makes sense. It gives a little bit of an epiphany, and then I go on about my day, and I sort of just do it more spontaneously. But that's a good idea. I think I might get back into doing some more dream journaling, because it definitely communicates what's going on in your subconscious, themes that you're integrating and healing, ideas even, etc., and nudges forward in your path, whatever that may be for you and what you're trying to create. So yeah, it's a very, very amazing thing to do. All right, everyone. Thank you, Mariana, for joining. I really appreciate it, and this has been a fun experience. I hope I answered your questions, and you got something out of today's live stream. I'm going to leave this up. So thank you again for today. Stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to have my normal uploads too, interspersed with these live streams. So be sure to stay tuned for my regular videos. Like and subscribe to my channel, and subscribe. So I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate hearing from you. You can also get a couple of free offers that I have. I have the Reality Shift Cheat Sheet, which is an awakening guide that can help you learn how to manifest, how to heal yourself, how to awaken your soul into your best life and best inner experience and connection to the source. So you can get that for free below. And you can also check out my one-on-one coaching. I have applications open. And so if you'd like to work with me one-on-one, just check those links below and you can work with me there. And just stay tuned overall. And thank you again so much for being here today. I'm sending you my love, my blessings, and I'll speak to you again soon. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Bye, Angela. Bye, Yoko. Bye, Monica. Bye.